All right. So the question says that prepare, check and adjust the level table or readings below. You may use either the rise and fall method or height of collimation method, which is also known as the HPC method. Okay, in our previous examples, we use the rise and fall method. So this time, I prefer we use the HPC method to also see how it can be applied to make life much more easier. This is a past question for the year 2022-2023 academic year for full time. But this year, we don't know what may happen. So let's all try this past question and see how we can be able to understand certain things. Okay, so in doing this, we have to construct 8 columns. Okay, where the first column is going to be composed of the backside, second is intermediate, third is foresight, the fourth is the HPC, the fifth is the initial reduced level, the adjustment reduced level, and also the remark. Okay, good. But before that, let's quickly take a pen and a paper and jot down some of these important things so that as the learning moves, you can be able to refer to make life easier. Before then, the HPC, the formula for the HPC is equal to initial reduced level plus backside. Okay, the initial reduced level, initial reduced level, okay, plus the hot backside. Okay, so quickly write this down. And also, our initial reduced level can also be calculated for with a formula. Our initial reduced level, we can also find our initial reduced level easily by using the formula hot HPC minus what the foresight. Okay, and the last but not the least, let's quickly put down our final one, which is what our initial reduced level. Okay, can also be calculated for using the formula HPC minus the intermediate site. Our HPC minus the intermediate site. Good. Okay. So without wasting much time, I've decided to construct the columns so that we can conserve time and also use that to learn something much ahead. Okay, so as you can see, I have my back site, my intermediate site, my foresight, the HPC, initial reduced level, my adjustment reduced level, and also the remark. Okay, as you can see in the question over here, you have to come and redraw the table again. Okay, when you redraw the table, if you want to use the HPC method, because we said we are using the HPC method, that's why we have 8 columns over here. Okay, so anyone that you think may make life much more easier. But I wish you could learn both methods and master them very well so that if the question is being specific and say you should use a specific method, you don't get lost. Okay, okay. So without beating about the bush, first of all, for my previous lectures, we learned that after constructing the table like this, the next thing we are supposed to do or know is that the initial reduced level for the hot BM1 have been hot provided. Okay, the initial reduced level for BM1 has been provided. So we only have to come and write it in here. Good. From there, what else must we know? We must also know that we have to come and count the number of backsides. Okay. And how many backsides do we have over here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Good. This implies that we have 5 backsides. So let's quickly number them. And in numbering them, they are going to become what? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So because we have 5 backsides, it means that we are going to be having a total number of 5 HPCs. Okay. We are going to be having a total number of what? 5 HPCs. Take note that anywhere you see a backside, there is an HPC. These numbers I have written over here can also be called stations. Okay. Yes, and stations refer to specific point or location along a survey line. Okay, where back sites, intermediate sites, or foresight reading are what observes. Okay, they are also places where instrument is set up. Okay, yes. So I can call this my stations. Okay, good. From there, what else do we do? The main purpose of the work is saying that we should do what? We should prepare, check, check, and adjust the level table. Okay, good. So we have to be able to what? Come and adjust the level table. But even before we can adjust that, we have to know our first initial reduce level and our last initial reduce level. And also without the HPC, we can't what? Calculate for that. Okay. But the HPC has a formula of what? How did we say the HPC is? We say that our HPC is equal to the initial reduced level plus the backside. Okay, so our first initial reduced level that has been provided over here. Our first initial reduced level that has been provided over here. Let's quickly add it to the backside and see the value we are going to get. After adding that, you observe that we are going to get 52.428. 52.428. Good. I added my hot initial reduced level to what? My backside, which was what? 50.825 plus 1.603. Okay. And that gave us what? 52.428. Good. From there, what else are we supposed to do? Let's go back to the formulas we wrote over here again. We said that to also get our initial reduced level, we have to what? Subtract either a foresight or an intermediate site from an HPC. Okay. So if that is the case, the only HPC we know at the moment over here is what? 52. 52.428. That is the only what? That is the only HPC we know at the moment. So if there is no what foresight over here, then it means that we have to come and subtract the what intermediate site rather from the what HPC to get the what in the next initial reduced level. Okay, yes. So in doing that, let's quickly perform that together. Let's quickly perform that together. And in doing so, you realize that we are going to be getting we are going to be getting 51.51 And how did we get the 51.427? We had that by what? Subtracting the 1.001, which is 52.428 minus 1.001. Okay. And at the end of the day, you realize that you are going to get what? 51.427 for your next initial reduced level. Okay. For your next initial reduced level. And that is what? 51, 51.427. Okay. 51.427. We said that anywhere there is hot, a backside, there is an hot HPC. Over here, there is no backside. In the next row, there is no backside. So what does that imply? That implies that we are not going to calculate for any HPC over here, but rather to fill the next initial reduced level, we just have to subtract the four side from the hot HPC. Just from the formula, we said to get the initial reduced level, we have to subtract the four side from the HPC, or the hot initial, or the intermediate side from the hot HPC. Okay, so it means that we are still going to subtract the next reading, which is a four side from the hot HPC. Okay, so and that is going to become 52.428 minus 1.367, and we are going to get 51.061. Okay, the value we are getting over here is what? 51.061. Okay, good. From there, what else are we supposed to do next? We have to check if there is a backside. If there is a backside reading in the next row, it means that there is surely going to be an HPC. Okay, yes, it is true. There is a backside reading, and that is what I have numbered over here, because there was an instrument set up over here. That is what? 2. Okay, so the backside was 1.761. Okay, and we said to get the HPC, what are we supposed to do? We have to add the initial reduced level to the hot backside. Okay, so that implies that our initial reduced level over here is what? 51.061 plus the backside, which is what? 1.761. At the end of the day, what are we going to get? We are going to get 52.822. 52.822. And that is written as 52.822. Okay, 52.822. Good. From there, what else are we supposed to do? The next thing we are supposed to do is that in the next row, because there is no backside in the next row, we will not calculate for any HPC over here again. But rather, we are only going to find for our next reduced level. Okay. And the next reduced level, the formula for the next reduced level is what? We said that our reduce to get our initial reduced level, we have to subtract either the intermediate site or the hot four sites from the hot HPC. Good. Take note that an intermediate site and the four sites cannot be on the same row. Okay. Intermediate site are just the reading between a back site and a hot and a four site. So if you don't see a four site in the next row, you will see an intermediate site. The next, after filling our HPC, we realize that in the next row, the reading was an intermediate site. So we just have to subtract that from the HPC. And that is going to become what? 52.822 minus 1.291. Okay. And in doing so, we are going to get 51.531. 51.531. Good. From here, what else are we supposed to know? We just have to move to the next um, row. Okay. When you move to the next row, you realize that there is a backside over here. So due to that, we have to calculate for a what? An HPC. Okay. But the issue is that we said that what? The HPC is equal to intermediate side plus what? Backside. If you don't know the intermediate side over here, you can't use that to calculate for the what? HPC. So you first have to find for the what? Next initial reduced level. You have to find for the next initial reduced level so that you can add it to your backside to be able to calculate for your HPC. Okay. So in doing so, it means that we have to still subtract the what? 1. We have to still subtract this value, which is what? 1.203 from 52.822. Okay. So let's all do that together. So we say 52.822 minus 1.203. And what are we going to get? We're going to get 51.619. 51.619. Good. From there, what else are we supposed to do next? The next thing we are supposed to know is that we can now calculate for our HPC since we have our what? Initial reduced level. Okay. So we said that our HPC is equal to what? Backside plus initial reduced level. Let's quickly do that together. And that is going to become 1.272, which is our third what? Backside. 1.272 plus 51.619. Take note that addition is what? Commutative. Addition is commutative. So 5 plus 1 is the same as what? 1 plus 5. They'll all give you the same answer. Okay. So we can now write that over here, and that is going to become, we said we had 52.891. Okay. After that, what else are we supposed to know? We have to just still fill our next readings. Okay. We have to continue to fill our next reading. So from here, in the next row, it implies that there is no backside over here. Okay, but rather there is only an intermediate side. So we just have to subtract this intermediate side from the HPC to get our what? Next initial reduce level. So that is going to become 52.891 minus 0.910, which is what? 51.981. Okay. After doing that, we are getting what? 51.981. Good. From there, we have to still move to our next step. Okay. So we have to calculate for our next initial reduce level. Okay. And the next initial reduce level over here together. You have to subtract the what? Four sides from the what? HPC, from the HPC. Okay, yes. So that is going to become 52.891 minus 2.291. 2.291. And that is going to give us what? And that is going to give us 50, 50.60, 60.6, okay, on the calculator. But you realize that we said that in leveling, for precision purpose, we want all our the decimal points should be in all three decimal places, okay, so that our calculation can be more accurate. So to attain the three decimal places, we have to add two zeros to it. Okay, yes, as simple as ABC. So you realize that we said that anywhere there is a backside, there is supposed to be an HPC. So due to that, we have to calculate for a different HPC over here too. Okay. And in calculating for the HPC, we have to add a 50.600 to the hot 1.979 because we said that what HPC is equal to initial reduced level plus what the backside. Okay. So in doing so, that is going to become what 50.600 plus 1.979. At the end of the day, what are we going to get to be our HPC? Our HPC is going to become 52.579. 52.579. 52.579. 52.579. Good. From here, what else are we supposed to do next? We are supposed to fill our next initial reduced level. Okay. And in doing so, we just have to subtract the hot, the next reading, which is a 4 sides from the hot HPC. So let's do that together. 52.579 minus 0.646, which is the hot 4 sides. And at the end of the day, we are getting 51.933. 51.933. So that is 51.933. Good. From there, we realize that we said that anywhere there is a backside, there is an HPC. Because there is a backside over here, there is supposed to be an HPC over here too. So let's quickly calculate for our HPC. And in doing so, we have to add a hot 51.933 to what 0.772. Then at the end of the day, what are we getting? At the end of the day, what are we getting? Let's add 51.933 plus 0.772. At the end of the day, what are we getting? We are going to get 52, 52.705. 52.705. 52.705. 52.705. Okay. From here, we have to fill our next initial reduced level. And in filling that, how is it going to become? We have to just subtract our next reading, which is the what? 4 sides on the next row from the HPC. And that is going to become 52.705 minus 3.033. 337. So our answer we are going to get for our last initial reduced level is 49.675. 49.675. So that is going to become 49.675. All right. All right. So we realize that we are done filling our HPCs and what filling our initial reduced levels too. So the next state of the work is for us to what? Adjust, fill the adjustment and then the adjustment reduce level. Let's go back to read the question again to be more sure of what we are supposed to calculate. The question said we should prepare, check, and what? Adjust. For the table, we are already done preparing the table. So the next thing you're supposed to do is come and check, okay, to see whether whatever we've done is correct, even before we move to what? The adjust the level. Okay, yes. So let's quickly do our check. Let's quickly do our check. From previous lectures, we learned that our check, okay, to get our check, we said that our check, the formula for the check is equal to what? The sum of back sides, sum of back sides, sum of back sides minus the what? Sum of the what? Four sides is equal to, we said our check is equal to the sum of the back sides minus the sum of the four sides is equal to the last reduced level minus the first reduced level. Okay, so this is the last reduced level minus the what? First reduced level. Good. So let's quickly do the check and see what we are going to get. Let's quickly do the check and see the values we are going to get. Let's add all the back sides. Let's add all the back sides. And let's also add all our hot four sides. Okay. Then from there, we will come and pick our hot last reduced level and subtract our hot first reduced level from it. And subtract our first reduced level from it. So let's quickly go and add the back sides. Okay, let's quickly go and add the back side. So let's add 1.603. The first one is 1.603 plus 1.761 plus 1.272 plus 1.979 plus 0.772. Okay, yes, after adding that, we are going to get 7.387. 7.387. Okay, now let's come and add all our four sides. These are the four side readings. Okay, the readings in this columns are the four sides, and the readings in this columns are the back sides. So let's quickly add the four sides. So 1.346 plus 1.203 plus 2.291 plus 0.646 plus 3.030. After adding, what are we getting? You realize you're going to get 8.537. 8.537. Okay. From there, how do we do next? Let's pick our last reduced level. And our last reduced level is what? 49. 49.675. Good. What else again? And our first reduced level is what? 50.825. 50.825. Let's all perform this together and see what we're going to get for our answer for the check. Okay. At the end of the day, if all your answers are not equal, it means that the work you did, there is a problem with it. So you have to recheck to be sure even before you move to adjust the work. Okay. So 7.387 minus 8.537 is equal to what? Minus 1.15 minus 1.15 negative 1.15. Okay, is equal to what? Let's subtract what? 50.825 from 49.675. And that is, let's all do that together. That's going to become 49.675 minus 50.825. At the end of the day, we are going to get minus 1.15. Okay, so you realize that at the end of the day, our left hand side is equal to our what? Right hand side, which implies that we are on the right part. Assuming that your left hand side is 2.5 and your right hand side is what? 8.5. It means that the initial reduced level you did, these calculations you did for initial reduced level, there is a problem with it because at the end of the day, if you perform the check is supposed to check. When you perform the checks are supposed to check. Okay, so from there we can now come and adjust our table. Okay, we can now come and adjust our readings to be able to um, make life easier. To make life easier. If you have any question to ask, you can meet me in groups, in person, one-on-one, so that I'll be able to clarify some of those things for you. Better still, you can also see your colleagues so that they could also give you a brief review of how they also understand it on their part, so that at least that could also enlighten you more. Because we said that let's try to learn from one another, just as iron sharpens iron. Okay, so before we can be able to even come and adjust and also fill in the adjustment reduce level, we are supposed to know some basic things. I told you that this is the benchmark, okay? And the benchmark, this is the BM1, the benchmark one. And the first initial reduce level, it may always be provided, okay, which is the first one over here is 50.825, okay? Yes, and this is spec A. The CP you see is a control point, and the control point is like the benchmark, but it also has an X and Y point, okay? Yes. So also you have to know that every point has X, Y, Z, okay? Z is always the highest portion. You always have to also know that. Okay, so from there, let's quickly come and calculate for our hot misclosure so that we can be able to use a misclosure to calculate for adjustment, because we said that our adjustment is equal to what? The allowable misclosure over the number of backsides. But before we can get the hot adjustment, we are supposed to know the misclosure first. Okay, so you can see this BM2 over here. This BM2 is different from the what BM1. Okay, you can see that. So at the end of the day, if you come and also check here, this value, you see that over here, the first one and the first initial reduced level is equal. But if you come and check the down over here, you realize that the BM2 and the last initial reduced level, they are not equal. And that is bringing about a misclosure concept. Okay, so that is an error. Okay, yes, and that is uncertainties in measurements. Okay, yes. So let's quickly calculate for our misclosure. From previous lectures, we learned that our misclosure, our misclosure is equal to the calculated minus the what? The known. Okay, the calculated value minus the known value. The calculated value minus the known value. So let's say the calculated value minus the what? Known value. Minus the known value. Okay. Minus the known value. So that our misclosure is equal to what? The calculated value minus the known value. Good. From the hot mass we know, we have to know that this our misclosure we are looking for is equal to what? What is the value we calculated for? The value we calculated for was 49.675. Okay, so let's quickly go and write that there to see how best or see the answer we are going to get at the end of the day. So that is what 49.675 minus, and the known value we knew was what? It is in the question. This is it over here. It is in the question. Take note that it is just this one. The BM2 is just a calibration and it's not supposed to confuse you. Don't mistake that for what? 249 point what? 685. Please, and a very big please, don't mistake that for this. I saw some people in some calculations, they were writing these things. Okay, it is wrong. Don't do it like this. Okay, so these are hot, these are wrong, but it should rather be hot. This is wrong. Okay, yes, so it should rather be hot, just 50.825 and hot 49.685. Okay, so these are the correct ones you are supposed to write, and don't let them confuse you. The original thing is what? 49.685. Okay, and this one is also what? 50.825. Yes, so the BM1 over here is just a calibration. This one over here too is just a calibration. Thank you. So the known value, this I can call my known value, is what I'm going to write over here. Okay, to be able to use to solve my work. To be able to use to solve my work. So let's quickly do that together. And in writing that over there, that is what 49.685. So 49.685. Okay, let's all point that together. And after punching that, what are you going to get? You realize you're going to get minus 0.01. Okay. If you do what? 49.675 minus 49.685, we're going to get what? negative 0.01. This is going to give you an answer of what? Minus 0.01. Okay. Minus 0.01. So you see the answer you are getting for our misclosure. Okay. Finally, we are getting our misclosure to be what? To be this. Okay, good. After getting the misclosure, we have to calculate for our what? Adjustment. From previous lectures, what did we say the adjustment was? We said that the adjustment is the what? Allowable misclosure over the what? Number of backside. Take note that uh, after getting the misclosure, you are supposed to what? Know that the misclosure is not what you are going to use to calculate for your adjustment, but it's rather the what? Allowable misclosure. And from previous learning, we said that our allowable misclosure is the what? Opposite of the what? Um, misclosure. Okay, so this is our allowable misclosure. And the allowable misclosure now, if the misclosure is what? Negative 0.01, then it means that our allowable misclosure is going to be what? Positive what? 0.01. Okay. Better still, let me use a different color pen to denote that for you so that you can have a clear view of that. It's just positive of 0.01. Okay. Yes, positive 0.01. We say that the misclosure must always be what? Smaller than the allowable misclosure. Okay. Yes. So from there, we can now calculate for adjustments. Okay. We can now come and calculate for our adjustment. Then our adjustment, our adjustment, our adjustment is equal to what? Allowable misclosure over the number of backsides. Okay, the number of backsides. Number of backsides. So this is the allowable misclosure. Allowable misclosure over the what? Number of backsides. Please do well to take a pen and a paper and a jotter so that as I'm writing or as I'm teaching, you also be taking certain notes along. Other than that, you are just going to make life difficult for yourself. That is the only way you can be able to understand this very well and also have a clear view of what we are doing. Okay, so from here, what do we do next? From here, what do we do next? We just have to, from the idea of substitution, we just have to what? Substitute our values into the equation, and then life becomes easier. So finally, we can say that our adjustment, okay, our adjustment is equal to what? How many number of backside do we have over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 5 backsides. We have 5 backsides. Good. We have 5 backsides. Also, what is the allowable misclosure? The allowable misclosure was what? This. Positive 0.01. 0.01. So let's quickly punch this into the calculator and see what we are going to get. After punching this, you realize that you are going to get what? Let's all do this together. 0.01 all over what? 5 is equal to what? Is equal to what? You are going to get 1 over what? 500. Okay, 1 over 500. And this is the same as what? This is the same as 2 times what? 10 exponent minus 3. Good. I told you that, I told you from previous lectures that anytime you see that, you don't need to get confused. It simply implies that, it simply implies that your value is what? Minus what? Or better still, your value is 0. It means 30 accompanies before the decimal places. Okay, 0 point what? 0, 0, 2. Okay, 3 zeros accompanies a what? Um, a number. Okay. Yeah, so the number of exponents, the number of negative exponent, if it was -4, it will be what? 0.0004. Okay, so the number of exponents determines the number of zeros in terms of the negative, in terms of using a standard, a value in its standard form like this. Okay, so after this, we now know that our adjustment is equal to what? 0.002. So we can use this quickly to fill in our table, and then we wrap up for the day. We wrap up for the day. We wrap up for the day. So we said that from previous lectures, we learned that the first one, you are not supposed to what? Fill in the first one. Okay, so I think we all agreed on putting a dash over there. We all agreed on putting a dash over there. Okay, so we can come and put our what? 0.002 over here. Because why we putting the 0.002, that is the answer we have for our adjustment. Good. So after putting in the 0.002, let's come over here. How many readings were taken before a different instrument setup? After the first instrument setup, you realize that 2 readings were taken. Okay. When the instrument was set up over here, when the instrument was set up over here, they took a back site and an intermediate site. They took a what? A back site and intermediate site, even before a next instrument setup. Okay, so it means that we are going to record this adjustment twice. So this here is also going to be 0.002. Good. I told you from previous lectures that the reason why I'm writing these values over here is that your first instrument setup, or this one you are seeing over here, this one you are supposed to use the one to multiply the hot, or the stations you are seeing over there, you're supposed to use it to multiply the adjustment so that you can be able to what? Use that to fill in the column. The one you are seeing over there times what? 0.002 is still what? 0.00 what? 2. That is why initially I wrote what? 0. What? 002 over here. And I also came to write what? 0.002. Okay, good. Take note that this is positive. Okay, this over here is positive because after the calculation, you realize that the answer we had for the adjustment was what? positive. Okay. Also from that, we can just use or move straight forward to finish our calculation. Okay. So the answer we had for the adjustment was what? This, which is what? The 0.002. Okay, good. And we said that because two readings were taken after a first instrument setup, we have to repeat that value what? Twice. So now we want to fill in the rest of the table. Okay. So we have to multiply what? This 2 times this value. So 2 times the adjustment. The adjustment we had was what? After calculating for the adjustment, we had the adjustment to be what? 0.002. So it means that what? 2 times 2 times 0.002. Punch it on the calculator. And you're going to get what? You're going to get 0.004. Okay, so we write that over here. 0 point what? 0, 0, 4. 0.004. Okay, good. So also, how many readings were taken before a next instrument setup? When after this instrument setup, the second instrument setup, you realize that a back site reading was taken, which was the first reading, and also an intermediate site reading was taken. Okay, so the intermediate site reading and the back site reading became two readings. So it means that we have to record this adjustment what? Twice. So this is the first one we have recorded. We also have to come and write over here 0.004. Okay, good. So from here, because two readings were taken, that is why I recorded this twice. So now realize that we have met a third instrument setup. In the third instrument setup, how do we use that to fill in our next adjustment? This 3 over here, we have to use this 3 to multiply the value we had for the first adjustment. And the value we had for the first adjustment is what? 0.002. So 3 times 0.002, let's all punch it on the calculator together. You realize that we're going to get what? 0.006. Okay, 0.006. Okay, good. 0.006. How many readings were taken before the next instrument setup? After the third instrument setup, you realize that a back site reading was taken and also an intermediate site reading was taken, which became two readings. It means that the 0.006, we have to repeat it twice. Okay, so for the adjustment that is going to be applied to this one too is what? 0. What? 0.006. Good. From there, what else are we supposed to know? You realize that there is a fourth instrument setup over here. There is a fourth instrument setup over here. And the fourth instrument setup implies that to be able to use that to fill our next adjustment reducer, we have to multiply this 4 times the first adjustment, or the value we had for the adjustment, which is what? 0.002. Okay, so 4 times 0.002 is equal to what? 0.008. So that is 0. What? 0.008. Good. So how many readings were taken over here before a next instrument setup? It was just one reading. So it means that the 0.008 will just be written just once. Okay, it will be written just once because there was only just one reading that was taken. So I'm not supposed to write this again anyway. Okay, good. Because there is a next instrument setup, it means that we have to calculate for the next adjustment using this 5 to multiply our adjustment. So 5 times this value. 5 times 0.002. What are we getting? 5 times 0.002. we are going to get what? 0.01. Okay, we're going to get 0.01. 0.01. Okay, but we say that in leveling, we want to, because we want to be precise. Okay, so we are maintaining three decimal places. So because of that, we have to just add 10 to this. Okay, as simple as that. So you also have to know that all these signs you are seeing over here, they have a what? A positive attached to them. Okay, they have a positive signs attached to them. So this is what? This is just a positive. This this is positive. Okay, because the answer we had was positive. Okay, so these are all positives. Okay, and remember to put them there so that you don't find yourself lost along the line. Okay, they are all positives. Okay, yes, they are all positive values. From previous lectures, you realize that the answer we had was a negative. So in writing it, it was minus something, 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 something. But in this case, it, there is a positive sign. You have to know. Okay, yes, you have to know there is a positive sign. From there, we can now use this to calculate our what? Our next adjustment reduce level. Okay, but over here, after multiplying the 5 times the what? 0.002, which is our adjustment, you realize that we had positive 0.010. Okay, if there was a next column, I would have recorded this what? Twice. Okay, because you realize that two readings were taken over here. So it means that the 0.010 must be recorded hot twice. But because there is no other rule, that is why it has been left in that form. I hope it has been clarified. All right. So this value will still have to be what? Repeated over here because this is assumed to be what? All the empty boxes that you are seeing. All the empty boxes that you are seeing. As a matter of fact, they have a values of 0 point what? 0, 0 what? 0. All the empty boxes. That is what I want you to know. All the empty boxes. Okay. Yes. So from there, we just want to fill our what? We want to fill in our adjustment reduce level. Okay. In filling in the adjustment reduce level, we have to apply just certain concepts from previous lectures to be able to make life very, 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 very easier for ourselves. Very, very, very easier for ourselves. Good. So this is a positive value. Okay. This is a positive. These are all positive values. This is a positive value. This is also a positive value. Okay. Good. So at the end of the day, if you add what 50.825 plus 0.00, at the end of the day, you are still going to get the same answer. Okay. You are still going to get the same answer. So you realize that this is still what? 50.825. Good. And also, in filling in the rest of the table, this is going to become, let's all do that together. 51.427 plus 51.427 plus 0.002. What are you going to get? You realize that we are going to get 51.429. Okay, so let's all write that together. 51.429. 51.429. 9. 51.429. Let's quickly do the next one. Let's add these two people. Okay, we are adding them. We are adding these two people. Okay, yes, just as you are seeing, we are adding them. So let's perform the next one. 51.061 plus 0.002. What are we getting? We are going to get 51.063. Okay. 51.063. Good. Also, let's quickly complete the other ones. Quick. Let's add this and this. 51.531 plus 0.004. What are we getting? We're going to get 51.535. 51.535. 51.535. Let's quickly punch the rest and quickly fill in the table so that then we can be able to wrap up for today. Okay, so the next one too is going to become what? Let's do that together. 51.619 plus 0.004. We're going to get 51.623. 51.623. In the next one too, when you perform it, let's quickly do that together. 51.981 plus 0.006. We're going to get 51.987. 51.987. Okay. So that is what you do for the rest. Quick, so that at the end of the day, you have to also be precise. Okay. You have to work with time so that you can also be precise. In the examination hall, you are on your own. So please, in a very big place, try your possible best so that in whatever speed you are trying to work on or work with, at the end of the day, you can also still be what? Accurate. You can also still be accurate. In doing so, it means that you have to dedicate yourself to practice this over and over and over and over and over again. Pick other questions and just try to use the concept you have what obtained from this lecture video to be able to what solve other questions. Okay, in case you find any challenges, send them to me and we can be able to what evaluate them together. Yes, we can all be able to what evaluate them together. Take note that next semester may be a bit difficult than this semester. So due to that, you have to what be able to try possible best so that you can just pass once and for all. Okay, because next semester your credit hours are going to increase. Yes, which is going to affect your score. Okay, so this semester that your credit hour is a bit okay, you have to be able to what make good use of that to be able to obtain whatever you're supposed to obtain now so that the future doesn't become an uncertainty. Okay, so let's quickly add the last one. That is what 49.675 plus 0.010, which is equal to what? 49.685. And this is what? 49.685. Very good. Very, very good. So please, and a very big please, try to go over the video. Better still, you can pause it and so that you can jot down some important points. Yes, as you watch the video along, you can reverse, you can forward to make life much more easier. Okay. Do well to be able to also see your colleagues so that at least you can grab certain ideas, certain understanding. Someone may also have a different or a shorter approach to this. Okay. A shorter or a different approach to this so that at least you can grab all kinds and styles of techniques so that in the exam hall, if you try a certain method or you try a certain technique and it's not working for you, you can also be able to what get the other. Okay. We should always remember that anytime we are being taught something, we should try to also be able to come out with a different approach to that, so that at the end of the day, if we forget what we were taught, we can also be able to apply that approach to our work to make life much more easier. Thank you very much for your time. I would like to um, close the class so that in our next lectures, we can also look at how we can calculate for our scale and also calculate for our angular disclosure. Thank you very much.